Want to be as good as
Uh,
Valerie is.
oh. Good Monday morning, everyone. Oh, you guys, we've had some crazy weekends, at least from what I've heard backstage. So I can't wait to dive into those. But you guys listening to Author Talk with me, Amy, Russell, Valerie, and our lovely author guest today is Steven. So, you guys, as you know, if you celebrate Easter or you know of the holiday that happened this past weekend, my kids have been off of school for 5 days. They were off Thursday, Friday, of course, the weekend, and also today. So I am struggling with sanity. I'm not even going to lie. I've threatened to put them in a timeout t-shirt together to where they have to get along. Okay. So if that doesn't summarize my weekend, I don't know what will. On top of that, my dad decided to almost cut his thumb off and needed stitches yesterday at Easter dinner with my parent, like my rest of my family at my parents' house. And then, I
Okay,
got up.
Steve. Wait. Before you finish, Steven, picture this. This is a part of the story. She's not. She has like five sisters. They all have husbands and 10 kids each. They're all there. So all this drama is happening
Okay.
with all that.
Okay. So
Okay.
Plus,
if
her
you haven't,
mother's kind of excitable.
Steven, if you haven't
Thank
already
you.
figured out, Russell comes the disclaimer. He embellishes a lot of stuff. I think it's the lawyer in him that he embellishes a lot of stuff. I have three sisters,
It's
okay?
called rewriting.
And,
I'm a rewriter.
and all of them have two
Good
kids
for you.
and one has three. So it's not that bad. My mom has 9 grandkids total, okay?
There's
Just to
only
give
like
everyone
40 people there when her father
just to
tries to
give
cut his
everyone
finger
clarification.
off.
Anyways, okay, you guys. Anyways, I got up at the butt crack of dawn yesterday. I went to sunrise service yesterday because I like it on Easter, and then I had to survive the rest of the day with my kids. But you guys, I don't even know what to tell you. I am diving into this week, and I like if I seem more disorganized than I usually am,
It's
just roll
hard to
with me.
tell.
I know. Just roll with
It's
me because Meadow now has two field trips back to back. She's got one tomorrow that I'm not
You
allowed
know
to
what
go
Nancy
on.
Reagan said, don't you, Amy?
No, I
Just say
don't.
no.
No,
I
I
thought I've
can't.
already lectured Valerie about
He
this.
no, you
Okay.
guys.
Will you
Hey,
go? Will
I
you
know what you're
can
going
go
through,
with
Amy. I
us
know.
on a field trip? No. Will you? Will you
Yeah.
do anything? No. No
No,
is our
Russell.
friend.
Okay,
Keep no
No, no,
close.
no, that's not how we go. That's not how we roll.
that's not how we do things. Okay, so anyways, I'm not allowed to go on the field trip
People
tomorrow.
don't even
Okay,
ask me shit anymore
no,
because they
we
know I'm
don't.
going to say no.
Yeah,
It's
we don't
great.
ask it. We tell
It's
him what he's going to do.
empowering.
No, we
hmm
tell
You
him
should
what he's
empower
going to do.
yourself.
Anyways, so my oldest is going on field trips tomorrow. I'm not allowed to go. And then my youngest is just no one told me. I don't know why no one, everyone said, there's the terrible twos and then the threes. No one told me at 5 and 6 that the sass that comes with them is like as bad as a 16-year-old. Okay. I'm trying to survive the attitude, and I am a firm believer that in my household, if you make me mad, I will have the last word. You can ask Russell. I
It's
am a
true.
sour
She's a
patch.
badass. I know she comes across as this sweet thing, Stephen, but trust me, she's
I am a
not.
Sour Patch doll.
And
Okay.
Valerie's already having her Wi-Fi issues. It's something she always
So
does.
we are
Yeah.
struggling to survive in this
It's
household.
Monday.
Yeah, it's Monday. So we're gonna just make it. So Stephen, welcome to Author
Thank
Talk
you.
with all of us. This is just how you get us all the time. And anyways, we've
Great.
known each other for a long time. You guys, we've all done this for 10 years. So it's been a lot of fun, but we like to talk about our weekends. Mine are generally chaotic. But Russell, you mentioned backstage you have this wonderful story,
No,
and
it's not
I
wonderful. It's funny and
I
weird.
want to hear
Okay.
about it.
So I had all these plans on things to talk about for the
Okay.
weekend because as we go through our weekend, we all, it occurs to us, oh, this is what I want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, author talk about my weekend. But something happened. My wife told me something last night that overwhelms everything else. Okay. And I have to talk about it. So, Steve and I have three granddaughters, among them 4-year-old evil identical twin girls.
They're precious.
Okay.
They're not evil.
They're precious and evil identical. Now, like yesterday, we were doing bubbles. I got bubbles for my granddaughters. And then the twins decided it was time to kill each other.
That's fair.
I actually picked them both up and took them to the father and said, "Here," because they were screaming and crying and kicking. Anyway, so my wife said that she asked Daphne, which is one of the twins, 4-year-old twins, yesterday, does she know what Easter's about? And she said, "Oh, yes." She knew exactly what Easter was about. And my wife asked her, "Well, what's it about?" Well, they killed Jesus on the cross, and then they made him go into a cave and put a rock in front of it, and he couldn't move it, and he was stuck in the hole. And then some fairies came and moved the rock, and so the fairies saved Jesus and let him out of the hole. That's what
Nice. Fairies. Oh, I love it.
So fairies are the star of their.
I like it, of their Easter.
Because Jesus was stuck in the hole.
Yeah, he needed help.
He's
help.
stuck.
Yeah. Some of the details, you got to give them credit for that.
I love it.
Their version, it's funny.
I love it. Little kids are so great. They're so innocent, and their stories are just so.
And
great.
I will miss next week because I will be on a cruise with a bunch of friends doing nothing but drinking.
Nice.
Oh,
I'm not going to miss any of you.
Is it a themed cruise? Where will your cruise go?
The theme is, it's just one of those little 5-day, you only stop once and get off, and we may or may not get off then because it's just about being with friends and not being around what you're around every other day.
Sure.
And the only things we would do is eat some and drink and probably have cigars.
Okay.
And that's it.
Oh, I don't know if I like enough people to go on a cruise with them.
You don't.
I don't think I do.
And I feel the same.
Yeah.
But you can, for 4 or 5 days, as a complete escape and change of environment, you can really enjoy it, and then you're done with them, right?
Yeah.
So that's what it's about.
That's fair. That's fair. Steven, what did you do this past weekend?
I visited my family in Maine, my wife's family in Maine.
Nice.
So I'm in Boston. So that's a fairly quick trip, only about 3 hours drive. So I did that, and then dinners with friends a couple of nights as well. So.
Nice. I need to travel more. It's only 3 hours from Boston to Maine. 3 hours
you can't
in
get
Texas.
to Dallas. You can't get to Dallas from there.
No. Oh my God.
No, you cannot.
You can get to Portland, Maine in an hour and a half. They just happen to live.
And it's so, Amy, it's so beautiful, isn't it, Steven? It's so beautiful. And there's so many great restaurants. Steven, the one thing that surprised me when I hung out up there was, especially in New Hampshire, every time there are so many restaurants that are by retired 5-star chefs that were Manhattan 5-star chefs. They get burned out and they move to New England and open a restaurant, so you can eat great food everywhere, and it's just spectacular.
It's great, and Portland, Maine is particularly like a dining destination for people.
Oh man,
that's a beautiful little city. It's very expensive now, but it's a lovely place.
Steven, have you ever been to Texas?
I think not a lot.
That means no.
I've been in the airport in Fort Worth, and I've been to El Paso.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've done the drive to El Paso. That's 12 hours. But for 3.5 hours, I'm only like to the next city over, like the next big city over. So I'm just shocked. I mean, I'm telling you, I probably need to try. I haven't left Texas, and when I do, I complain about it.
Steven,
I just
griped
can't.
at her about that so many times.
I am a born Texan through and through. I had this conversation with my mom. In my family, I am the only true Texan. I was born and raised in Texas. No one else in my family was. No one else in my family was, but like, I am just like the true Texan in my family. So I am like, I don't know, I guess I have that like Texas is great and I'm not leaving kind of thing. But I don't like road trips because Texas is so big that I don't ever get out of it. So I think that also contributes to it.
Yeah.
But Valerie, what about your weekend? I know Russell's dying to hear about all your celebration food and your suga.
Okay, wait.
Suga?
Let's prepare Steven for this too. Okay, Steven, Valerie is one of the greatest things. She is an Italian from a giant Italian family that still has the grandmothers that make the gravy, or what do you pronounce? How do you call it in your family?
Suga.
Suga. So it's pronounced. It's depending upon what part of Italy her family's originally from. Depends upon what it's called. But it's she has spectacular stories about what happens in the kitchens when the family all gets together. Okay, Valerie, I've got him ready.
No, it was crazy. Let's just say we had a whole dining room table full of desserts, and then just like always, we had 2 countertops filled with food. So we were a little overwhelmed, but it's okay. It was good. It was good. We had my mom made the suga and meatballs. So and then I had
which means that whatever we did, she did something better. That's what that means. Whatever you did.
I don't know. And then the day before we went to my son-in-law's birthday party, and he had a crawfish boil. And so, girl, we had a little bit of everything. Just
how many margaritas did you have on Easter? How many margaritas did those swollen eyes on Monday morning have on Easter?
Oh, it's the allergies. I went for a walk this morning and I shouldn't have done that.
No, you should not
windy. It was bad. The oak pollen was flying even after the rain. And we went to the Easter Vigil Mass and on Saturday night. And the last time we had done that is when the kids were little, because we were like, yeah, let's just go on Saturday. Because we don't know. And then they weren't that little, but it was enough. And we're like, we'll go out to eat afterwards. We were so dumb when we were younger, but and we ended up leaving and none of the restaurants were open. I think we ended up having to go get KFC or something after that. But going as a grown adult with nobody to babysit and nothing to, you're like, wow, this is actually pretty nice. And just experiencing the whole event of a vigil mass. But it's what a difference it makes when you're not tackling children. That's all I gotta say.
What, you weren't assigned grandchildren? I was assigned grandchildren, so
no,
I don't get any of those.
No, the baby was at home with his dad, and so that was what a difference. What a difference going as a grown adult with just your own eyes and ears to take care of. It was different. But then and then the only wine we had was all the wine that we put in the suga because it got a little thick, so we're like, more wine.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Valerie, Russell, I don't think you do. Valerie, do you live by or can you tell me like where Manville is? There was like these 10,000 drone show for the past like 9 days, and it like broke a bunch of Guinness.
Way south by like Pearland.
Okay, because it broke like a bunch of Guinness World Records, and it went on for like 9 days. And I mean, it was cool. It was the coolest thing. I'll have to share it. But they had like, I don't know, I guess they just did it all week long leading up to Easter.
Cool.
But I mean, it had like movements and all kinds of like really cool stuff. But it was like 10,000 drones. And it's like, I don't know, it's been all over my news feed. So I was like, where is Manville? So
okay.
Well, they must have done it early before the storms came, right, Russell?
Yeah, they must have. Go, Russell, go.
Okay, we need to thank our listeners. We're top 1% of good pods, top 10% for independent book authors on most of the other podcast channels or some of them. And we want to thank our listeners. We've been on for 10 years. And when we first started doing podcasts instead of just interviews on YouTube and Facebook, I never could find us. Then Amy, and with Dina's help, made some changes. And now even a boomer like me can find it. And if I can find us, you can find us. Amy, where can people find us on?
Literally anyone can find us if Russell can find us.
It's true, Steven. It's true. I'm stupid about that stuff.
It's not a dig. It's meant with love. It's
my beloved wife of 42 years would tell you how stupid I am about these things.
You're a man of your generation, perhaps.
Yeah, there you go. That's a much
That's a
nicer
threat.
way of
That was
saying
a threat. That was a threat.
That was very nice. But you guys, anywhere that you can search for a podcast, you can type in Author Talk and look for the Crimson, Red, and Gold. That's us. You can listen to all 10 years of our episodes. They're over there. If you want to watch us, because we do actually go live on our social media channels and our YouTube channel, and you can actually engage with us. We love engaging and asking and answering your guys' questions. You can come on over to any one of our social media platforms, Author Talk page, or our YouTube channel and engage with us. You can see the true meaning behind Russell's statement that Amy controls what comes out of her mouth and I don't have a poker face. I very much don't. So you can come over there and you can witness it. I am very animated too. I've had to tuck my hands underneath my computer to prevent me from being so animated, but we love engaging with you guys. And like I've said, every Monday so far this year, this is a big year for us. This is our 10th year doing it, and it was Russell's dream that we've kind of evolved into. So if you want to see how we started and have a good chuckle to where we are now, you can go and see any of those on all of those channels. But without further ado, Steven, let's get you talking about your photography and your literary work. So let's get to know about Steven some more. So Valerie, Russell, you guys take it away.
Okay. Well, Steven, first of all, can you introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about your, how you became what you are now?
I'm Steven Seidenberg. I've spelled my name wrong in the podcast. Listing there, so it's not Verg, it's Berg, but whatever. I was rushing to get on, so and
we thank you for that.
Yeah,
I got you. I fixed it.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Good.
That's good.
I am a writer of experimental prose and poetry, I would say, avant-garde prose and poetry, and then a fine art photographer as well. I work basically separately in those two media, but I also, they share something, they're echoes of each other in many respects, though that might not be obvious at first sight. But in general, I have my most recent book, Coda, is my 6th literary work, and I have a few collections of photographs that have come out over the years, and I show my work pretty broadly in the U.S. and Europe and Japan and a few other places. Yeah.
How did you get started in all this?
I was always drawn to literary work when I was younger, and then I was exposed to photography as a kid, and was given a camera and started taking pictures as well. And I was also drawing and painting and other things. So I started reading a lot of poetry in particular, but then other kinds of literary work came to me, and then I actually moved through the philosophy world quite extensively, and as an undergraduate studied philosophy and photography and poetry, and then went to graduate school in philosophy and got a PhD in philosophy, and taught for a few years in that medium in various places before devoting myself exclusively to writing and photography.
Mm-hmm. What drew you to become a writer? Just were you inspired or just motivated or what?
I think that what draws anyone to become a writer is a spirit of, well, for me, there's a famous quote from Saul Bellow that a writer is a reader moved to emulation. And I think that there's a way in which that's true, but I think for me, it's what it misses is the sense, not just that one wants to be like the writers that one admires, wants to make the same kind of work, but that one wants to reciprocate in terms of giving other people the experience that one has had, the gift of the work that has moved one. So one is moved to reciprocity by work that feels particularly compelling when one encounters it as a reader. But I would say this is certainly true for me, and I think for all writers who seriously approach writing. Writing is something that comes from reading. and it doesn't come from anything else. It's not, you don't write without reading. You have to read and read and read, and then you figure out what your work is by reading other people's work.
I totally agree. Excuse me. I teach second and third graders creative writing, and one of the primary focuses we do is have a mentor text, because showing them it is better than explaining them to them. Like, how can you develop a story based on this inspiration? And I feel like that's kind of what happened here with you. Do you think so?
Absolutely. And I mean, it's through many, many different texts over a long time,
Of
and
course.
specific encounters. And it still happens. One writes with other I mean, for me, my process, which is not really standard narrative in any sense. So I don't have a plot that I'm thinking about. I don't have a set of characters I'm thinking about. I have I have other texts that I'm thinking about, and I'm thinking about writing in relationship to and in discourse with.
Mm-hmm. I'm fascinated that you're able to draw, separate the philosophy world with the photography world with the poetry world. Those are such profound realms to explore. Is there a favorite that you have?
Sure, many favorites. In terms of like writers and artists and things like that, you mean?
Or just, I guess, the medium that you choose also?
No, actually, I don't have, they do different things for me. So I like having these different venues, in part because you get tired. One gets tired. I can be writing all day and think, well, it's time for me to do some image work, because that is a break from that. And so I can sort of always be working without feeling burned out in the way that I would if I were always working on my photographic work or always working on my literary work.
Is your work primarily black and white, or do you go back and forth between that and color, or
back and forth, back and forth? So I have some series. I have a book coming out of monochrome images of a project that I did in a city in Japan called Kanazawa over many years. And
where is Kanazawa?
Kanazawa is on the west coast, on the inland sea, the Ishikawa Peninsula, and it's about, you can take a Shinkansen, a bullet train from Tokyo. It's about 2 hours.
I think I've been there.
Have you?
Yes, to watch the sun over the inland sea of Japan is unbelievable.
Yeah. It's a beautiful city. It's the second largest city after Kyoto that was never bombed or destroyed in an earthquake or any other way. So it has a lot of it's a center for traditional Japanese culture in certain respects, and has areas of longstanding, some of the earliest areas of historic preservation in Japan. And my project there was photographing, because of demographic shifts in Japan and the way in which the sort of movements of Japanese populations. At the moment, it's a depopulating city. And when the housing is abandoned, sometimes it falls into disrepair, and there aren't people to really repair those houses, which takes extraordinary skills. So often they are the lots are cleared and they're vacant lots, and then the lots can go back to a kind of natural context. The flora and fauna of the region take over again. And so I photographed these vacant lots in Kanazawa. That's the project that's coming out as a book next year, in which I have at least part of a show that I have up at the moment at the Lilly Museum in Reno, Nevada, is of that work as well.
Nice. Russell, did you have a question? I feel like you have a lot.
I have 100 questions.
I knew it.
What was your early literary interest? Where else is your shows in Japan? Did you have tours in Japan? What is your current favorite literary interest? What are you reading? See, I go on and on.
Sure. There are wonderful.
And what's your favorite European literary writers?
Sure.
Historically?
Yeah.
What did you teach in philosophy? What was your main center of philosophy? How
Hold on,
much
I need a
Republican
bullet
run?
I
list
don't
here.
know.
I know.
I don't think
See,
we
I
need
just
all the
died.
questions.
He's seasoned my mind and it's popping. Answer some of these questions.
All right, where do you want me to start?
You pick whatever you want to answer, and at some point, Valerie will take back over.
All right. So I would say my earliest, I had an interesting exposure to literature as a young autodidact as a kid. My parents were not college graduates, and just
me too.
Which and they just hadn't devoted them. They didn't have that as part of their lives, and they were they actually were, unlike you, Russell. I suspect they weren't particularly concerned with literature. It wasn't part of their. It just wasn't part of their life. I mean, they weren't working all the time. It was,
yeah, you're describing me growing up too.
Okay, yeah,
and so and when I became a 10-year-old opera fan, my parents thought I'd gone insane.
Yeah. So and similarly for me, but I somehow found libraries are amazing things, and the thing that I think I discovered Emily Dickinson, I discovered Melville. Though these writers were extraordinarily important to me early on, and then from there, some James Joyce, Samuel Beckett. I ended up accidentally stumbling into the philosophy world when I was quite a bit younger. And
okay, stop. But remember where you're at, talking about the beginning of philosophy. But I have to interrupt you. Have you read Ulysses, and how long did it take you to read it, and how did you read it? But then get back to the philosophy part.
I've read Ulysses many times. No, well, and it's a book that repays frequent readings and readings again and again. It's such an extraordinary work, and he's such a brilliant craftsman of language, both in terms of what he's doing as a broad conceptual project, but also poetically and lyrically, and the extraordinary music of his language, of Joyce's language. I've also spent a lot of time in Finnegan's Wake, even more difficult and even more a work that challenges notions of narrativity even more profoundly than Ulysses does. Joyce's final work, Finnegan's Wake, that is, and I love that work. It's all of Joyce. I mean, from the beginning, from Dubliners on, he is incomparable in so many ways, and such a constant and consummate experimenter. He's never satisfied. He's trying to find some other way of using language that will be transformative of human culture and human personality, and of his readers with respect to characteristics that no other author ever really approaches. So, and I would say the same thing about Melville, though, too. Melville is has a kind of a similar complexity to Joyce. It takes a different form, but he is impossible to get to the bottom of, Melville. So, yeah. Okay.
And go on to back to
but you had more
taken over.
Philosophy.
No, what was the other? You had another question about European something.
Well, so you were asking me about
what his favorite European writers are.
Sure,
which includes Russian. So, and then get back to when you started your political philosophy interest.
Well, so I would say my favorite, in many respects, some of my favorite writers of European origin and in other languages than English are philosophers. So I understand that philosophical tradition.
I knew that, but who are they?
Yeah. So Kant, So I discovered Kant very early. I had a chance encounter with the Critique of Pure Reason, Kant's first great book, and it transformed my thinking and my life in ways that are difficult to describe. But I went on from that, and my focus in many ways has been on Hegel, and then those who came from Hegel, in responding to Hegel in various ways, Marx and Nietzsche and Freud, and then Husserl and Heidegger afterwards. So all of these.
Okay, I have a trick question for you.
Sure.
Have you read Marx's chronicle writings for the New York paper during the Civil War?
I have read some of that work. Yeah.
You're the only one that's ever been able to say yes.
Yeah.
That I've asked that. Okay,
No.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, it's quite important. He was really
it was a completely different view of what was going on in the Civil War. I loved it.
And he was trying to provide a basis. He wanted to say to Americans, this is a European view of the Civil War, and we support emancipation, really.
Anyway, we need to get back to your book and Valerie. I'm sorry that I took you off of this, but there's so many questions I have.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating. It's fascinating. Yeah. And especially that Russell has found what is the word I'm thinking?
He's found someone that has a common interest, because whenever he talks to me and Valerie about it, we just look like a deer in headlights because we have no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah. I was like, I've heard of that, but okay. Anyway, so I would like to talk about, gosh, you have multiple books. Can you share with us, I'm sorry, a little bit about each, I guess, genre you have and what you have in these genres?
Of my different work?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I in some ways, there's I'll quote another philosopher and literary critic, Isaiah Berlin, who postulated he suggested that there are two kinds of writers in the world. There are foxes and hedgehogs, right? Have you heard this before? Have you ever heard?
No, I have not.
So it's a fox is a thinker who is essentially moving from thing to thing and doing something different every time. And a hedgehog is a thinker who is, and so his example of this would be, say, Tolstoy of War and Peace and Anna Karenina. They throw everything in, right? And a hedgehog is a thinker who has one thing they're trying, in a sense, is always trying to do the same thing on some level, or the same set of things. And Dostoevsky is his example of this. And although all of Dostoevsky all of his work is different, and there are different characteristics, there are a kind of set of philosophical themes that overwhelmingly consume him. And I would say that I am also someone who is focused on specific things over and over again, and trying to do specific things over and over again. So all of my work has characteristics that are shared, and none of it has it looks a little bit like novelistic prose, but it has a kind of prosody to the writing, so it reads like poetry in many ways. And in fact, the presses that publish me are usually poetry presses. And at the same time, it focuses often on issues of that are classically within the philosophical tradition. So epistemology and other questions about the ways in which we know what we know and we do what we do. So explorations of consciousness in particular ways, and through language and through experiments in using language in ways that I feel exciting to people who are reading the work. But in that respect, for instance, I will. My first book is called Itch, as an example of this, and Itch has a kind of plot. The plot it's about 300 pages long, and in that 300 pages, what happens is the narrator has an itch and scratches it. So that's the entire plot of the book, and it is a description of what it could possibly mean to perceive, to have bodily perception that's distinguished from perception of the outside world, for instance.
You were trying to be Proust.
Yes, Proust is very important to me. And Proust, you know what? I would say I love Proust. Too much plot. No, too much plot. Too much happens.
That's ridiculous in a good way. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about your new book, Coda. Tell us a little bit about what we can expect for this.
You know, it's connected a little in some ways to the book immediately prior to it, Anon, published by the same press, Omnidon, and is connected to the next book that Omnidon is going to put out in a couple of years. So it's a kind of trilogy, but all the books all three of them are distinct. And it challenges ideas of narrativity in ways that are similar to what I'm describing. Nothing really happens in Coda. It's a set of reflections about how we think through language, and also very important to me, and for people who read it, they'll see the relationship between the writer, the narrator of a book, and the reader as interlocutor. So there is a lot. I play with the form of direct address to the reader quite a bit, which is, and it works through many of the tropes and mechanisms that happen in medieval literature. Again, important writers to me like Rabelais, and the earliest of what we understand to be the modern novel, like Cervantes or Sterne in Tristram Shandy, those kinds of works. And it's in dialogue with all of those works as well in very particular ways.
Wow. You have a lot of nerve comparing yourself to Cervantes, don't you?
Yeah, sure. I do. I do have a lot of nerve.
I like that. That's a good answer. I do.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not do it?
Right.
Who is your audience, Steven?
Thank you, Valerie. I was dying to hear that question.
I mean, I hard for me to say. Hopefully it's people. What I hope is that I don't know who it is. The best thing for a writer and for an artist is to.
Well, then who buys your book? You know that. You can go to Amazon and look.
Well, I don't know who the people are in particular. I mean, I think it's other people who are interested in philosophy or often avant-garde literature, but I hope that it reaches people who are not accustomed to that kind of work and who find it intriguing in some way and want to and are up for the challenge. I also do, by the way, with my last 3 books, I do audiobooks of those works, which are available for free for people if they want to download them, or they can find them on Spotify or all of those forums of distribution. And I think that brings people too, because it can it can open them up to the text. They can see exactly or they can see some of the challenges of it, but also some of the beauty of it, in particular because of its lyric character. So when I'm reading it, it presents, as I hope, quite musical in certain ways.
Yeah, I feel like this is for an exploratory reader, who is curious about finding a new type of story to engage in.
Yeah.
Do you think that is possible as well?
I do, and I think I hope it rewards such exploration by opening up a whole world of kinds of literature that maybe people aren't as exposed to in the common cultural artifacts that they are within their field of view, I should say. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I especially appreciate that, because in the world of like fast fiction and AI and all these things, that you can tell that you put a lot of thought, and just the writing process is so important to you. Just creating a story that's a little bit unusual, like I was saying, like for the reader to explore and maybe discover new types of stories.
Yeah, there's nothing fast about my work. I mean, it's not
Yes.
long. My books are not long, so they're 100 to 150 pages, the last few
Mhm.
books, but they reward slow reading, and I hope feel like a rich experience to read slowly.
That's nice. Yeah, that sounds perfect. Russell, what would you like to add?
Do you consider yourself a contrarian to the momentum of modern culture?
Yes,
Because everything you're doing is contrarian to the way everything is going.
yes,
So don't you think you are?
yes, I do. Yeah,
Is that intentional or is that just by your very nature?
it's both. It is certainly by my nature, but I lean into it, as it were. It feels an important
It
thing.
feels good and comfortable, like a chair that you worn well, right?
It feels like a moral imperative to me.
That's different.
Yeah,
Yes.
it
That's a
feels.
stiff wooden chair.
Yeah, it feels like it's comfortable, but it also feels like it's something that I am obliged to do because I can.
Okay.
And I know you mentioned about I guess you're saying the book does take a minute to construct. How is your writing process in general?
It takes a long time for me. I often begin work. So even the books that I'm working on things for many, many years, and so it can even decades. Things end up in the books that are coming out now that I started decades ago, and it's brought together with new writing that is happening now in various ways as I'm moving towards completion of a work, which often happens in relationship to a publisher. So
Yeah, see, Amy, I'm not the only one.
the only one. What? Tell me more.
You were describing your work writing process
Yes.
and the time, and my response was, "Yeah, Amy, I'm not the only one like that."
Takes a long time for you. Yeah. So I've
It's a
been.
painful process. It's like going to the
He's
dentist.
been on book 3 for like I don't even know how many
Okay,
years.
that's enough of you, Amy. Go back to push the button. Stop talking.
Well, I love doing it. It's painful, but it's a good pain. It's a pleasurable pain, and it is a pain that is again in relationship often to other things that I'm reading at any given time, and the things that are coming through me as a reader are changing how I'm approaching the completion of the next work, whether it's poetry I'm reading or prose or narrative prose or philosophy or what have you. So, and I work every day on something to do with writing, and I read every day, and it's all connected.
Mhm. I agree. I agree. Where can people find your book, Stephen?
You can get them at all the usual places, I guess, online. I suppose there are some select bookstores that might carry this kind of work. I'm not sure if you'll find them in your bookstore. Some libraries probably have them. There are you can find the audiobooks again gratis to stream or download through all your usual audiobook sources. There's also it's distributed by the University of Chicago distribution, so you can find it on the University of Chicago website, and you can get it directly there. But so all that's, I guess, where you find it.
Mhm. Yeah, that sounds perfect. What are you working on now?
I'm working on the next book that'll come out in a couple of years, which is So that has a deadline. Probably, I think I have about a year to finish it.
Oh, that's good.
And then I'm working on the photo book of the photos from Kanazawa. That'll come out, and I have a photo book after that's coming out as well. So
that's great. Yeah, that's great that you can, alternate a little bit, and then, like you're saying, give yourself a break from the one spot to the other spot. Yes.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
And Russell, any final questions for you?
No, we've heard enough of Russell. Russell, go back to being muted. We're done.
Russell, come on.
Done with Russell.
I want to hear more from all of you, please.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I will say this. It has been wonderful, Steven, having you on with us today, simply because you and Russell think like two peas in a pod. And so you guys to just have the conversation and facilitate, and for you to keep up and answer all of Russell's questions is very impressive to us. So you are welcome back anytime, Steven, because this has just been fantastic. But I want to thank you. Russell, go back to being muted. I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your morning to come and hang out. Just joke around with us, but also let us know about you and all of the different works that you have and kind of your journey to doing that. So thanks so much for taking time out of your day to come and hang out with us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, you guys, we hope that everybody has a fantastic Monday, a great rest of your week. And until next Monday, everybody, bye for now.